Huh? What? This is a library! Oh, sorry. Mm-hmm. Damn kids. So most of you probably don't know this, but before I embraced the way of the chunk, I used to play a hell of a lot of Loki. You could even say I was somewhat of a Loki main. I use him all the time in Void Towers, and even when sorties were first introduced into the game, I used Loki to cheese the ever-living hell out of them. Loki was the OG stealth frame, and he's still really good at being an absolute sneaky beaver. And I still use him every now and then, because stealth has always been the easiest way to get things done. After all, you cannot shoot that which reflects no light, because, you know, you can't see it. So here's the build, and it's very straightforward. It's just a buttload of duration with some extra range on top. For the aura, I like to run Energy Siphon just so I'm always generating energy, and I have more than enough to go back into invisibility once it runs out. Then I'm running Cunning Drift and Overextended for a bit of extra range, and this is to help with Radial Disarm, which is a very nice tool that helps with defense, mobile defense, you know, that kind of stuff. It's just a nice tool to have because disarming an entire room full of enemies is very good. Though it's not entirely necessary. If you just want to go for invisibility, you can run something else. Then we need something to prevent us from dying when we're recasting invisibility, and we're gonna do that via Quick Thinking and Primed Flow. Now, while you could just use Rolling Guard and simply roll to become invincible when your invisibility is about to run out, I find that Quick Thinking is much better because while it's not as sturdy of a safety net, it covers far more ground. Because it also protects you from random bombard rockets clipping you or arson AoE, that kind of stuff. So I would highly recommend Quick Thinking, which in combination with shield gating makes you pretty safe. Next on the menu we have Primed Continuity, Narrow-Minded and Constitution. This gives us a ton of duration so our invisibility lasts a long time, and we also get a bit of knockdown recovery, which is always nice to have. After that, I would highly recommend Natural Talent, which increases your casting speed by 50%. This speeds up all casting so you can get back into invisibility a lot faster, and you can also disarm enemies a lot faster. This makes the window where you're visible and thus vulnerable much shorter. So this is another mod that I would highly recommend. And to top it all off, we're running the Hushed Invisibility Augment, which silences all weapons while you're invisible. Now you might be tempted to run Irradiating Disarm, which on top of disarming the enemies will also proc radiation on them, but don't do that, especially if you're running this build solo, because it's gonna get you killed. The enemies will start fighting, you'll get caught in the crossfire, and you will eat a random bombard rocket or something. Hushed Invisibility on the other hand, very good. Also, if you have access to it, please run Arcane Resistance, because the easiest way to die on this build is to run through a random Tox Cloud. The gameplay of this build is very straightforward. You hop into invisibility, then you can disarm the enemies if you have the energy and you feel like it, and then you either shoot or slash them. The end. You could almost say there is not much to see here. Seriously though, this build is still very good. Like, if you're having trouble with Steel Path, this is probably the easiest, most low effort way of getting it done. Just make sure you press the button every time and you're good to go. It doesn't even matter what kind of weapons you prefer, as long as they're good enough to do the content. You can use this with primaries, secondaries, and even melee. Now the build of course isn't perfect. There are some issues with it, like for example our resident asshat Malise, who will shoot you whether you're visible or not, and every now and then you might find yourself stranded with not enough energy to recast invisibility, though this can be fixed fairly easily by simply using the Zenuric Focus School. So all in all, a fantastic build that I've been using for a very long time, and I would highly recommend you check it out. And as always guys, I thank you very much for watching, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.